So I'm doing a second one of these today, and this time I'm a little bit in the danger zone because this time, since I'm at home again, we're at the point, it's 3:30, so my uncle will be home soon, so the one that can look out the door and see see where I'm at. Or his wife will be back probably shortly. I don't know what the status is on the family with the cancer appointment. It sounds like leukemia's back. Lung cancer's in remission, I think, is the status. So yeah, I think they're probably all over at my grandparents' house at this point. Don't know for sure. My mom is still probably at the hospital, I think, although we have a 5:30 appointment to get this vehicle looked at, so we'll see. Yeah, after I did the last video, and your Gidget is to pester me again. Can't reach it. Can't reach it. She lost it. Yeah, since since the last video ended, I went and vacuumed over at my grandma's house as I said I would, and then I went and walked the dogs around the side lot as I said I would. And then my mom wanted me to check the water softener to see where that was at, so I got to go run a little errand to get some salt and put that in the thing. So yeah, all right, take a break. I know, take a break. I can't believe I'm telling her this already. And Ziva's reminding me it's time for her dinner. Can't say the word. That one I'm surprised she doesn't spell yet, but she will. Anyway, yeah, it's, I don't know, like some reason, like doing like the sweeping, no big deal, doesn't bother me, but it does seem to make the emotions percolate a little bit, and that's kind of aggravating. It tends to be helpful on processing things, especially emotional things that need to be dealt with or whatever, but still just blah. So I was thinking, okay, at the beginning of the year, I mentioned many times that I started seeing 37 all over the place, like I especially noticed it in December and January, but when I've looked at like some of the screenshots I've taken and stuff, beyond that, 37 has been something that has been with me for a long time. It just took a long time before I realized it. And that ended up, I found out in January, was one of my great-grandpa's big numbers. My great-grandpa being my grandpa with cancer, his dad, the one that was a traumatic death when I was 91, or when I was 91, holy fuck. The traumatic death in 91 when I was 7, that basically scarred me on the whole death thing for a long time in a lot of ways. So yeah, never occurred to me. Of course, my family's not into that sort of thing where, you can, numbers will be a sort of pat on the back, if you will. Let me, this is what I deal with, y'all. I love this dog to death. Just see her eyes peeking over the camera. So anyway, so 37s. In January, I realized that it was my grandpa checking in, kind of a thing. And like every time I would look at a clock, 6:37, 8:37, whatever. Oh, it's almost always 37. It was crazy places even, and so I turned 40 in July, and I figured this out in January of this year. So yeah, so it's been a thing, and I pulled these cards back then when I made that connection, and then started seeing them more and more, and it's increasing very much. So 37, and then 91 is another one, because that was the year he died. And then, although that one I think is more prominent for my brother than me, but since we had a conversation a while back and he mentioned it, and since then it's like, oh yeah. So I see that one a lot too. My great grandma, 515, because that was her birthday. Yeah. And then like the big one that has been with me, I think maybe more than any of them, was Tyler. And the one that he got my attention with was 719. And I've told a few stories on here about that. And then when I was talking to Annie, I went in for a reading one day. Never done an in-person reading one. Or I had the one friend that I met online, I had her do readings for me in the past, but Annie was the first one in person. So she said, who did I know that was kind of young when they died, like in mid-30s or whatever, and it's like, well, Tyler. And she asked how old he was when he died, and I said 34. And she said, will you stop? She said 34 will be another number that he uses to kind of check in. And on my way out to the car, I noticed that my license plate had a 34 on it. It's like, oh, so he's like literally with me all the time, right? Yeah. But yeah, so 34 and also his birthday now are very prominent as well. Stop, psycho. So yeah. Anyway, when I was catching on with the numbers, and when I first became a thing, this dog's gonna drive me nuts. No. I drew some cards for myself, and I felt really drawn to this Oracle of the Hidden Realms or something like that. And one of the cards that I pulled was this one that was the Sisters of the Season. Yeah. And it was talking about cycles, and one of the big points on it was, when this card appears, pay attention to which cycle you're in. Got my attention very much, because at that time, December and January, my grandparents, the two remaining grandparents, my grandpa was in the hospital 3 times in December and January, and my grandma was in once as well. So I was automatically thinking on that, and it's like, oh crap, and that's not something that I really would prefer to have insight before time. But I'm kind of feeling like I am getting some of that, and it's uncomfortable, extremely. So, big thing, after I made that connection and drew the card, and my first thought was my grandparents. Well, then my Uncle Dave ended up being the first one that passed away on the year. And that was in February. He died on February 11th, which was also his anniversary. and his birthday was February 14th, so I see 211 and 214 quite a bit too. And those are Dave's numbers. And then we had a family friend. Well, no, before the family friend, I had a former coworker that passed away, and they did a celebration of life for him, but that, I believe, was after the other, the family friend passed away. Mike passed away in March, I believe. I don't remember what day at this point. The ones I see for him, 57, because he was always working on his 57, and it's some kind of car. I don't know cars, but he just called it the 57. And then I believe that was also his birth year when I looked at his Facebook account after that. So I've been seeing that one a lot. And also 622, which that one I think has to do with the fact that that's when his celebration of life is planned for. So yeah. Crap. I'll do it again. Anyway, so since I've been thinking about all this heavy shit the past couple days, and especially with my dad and all that, one of the things that I kind of made the connection of that I started wondering about earlier in the year, because the people that we've lost so far, it's like good people, but that's not the point. The big thing, like with Dave, he was probably one of the most negative people I know, as far as if you asked him how he was doing, it's like, not a damn bit of good. And, it always went heavy fast. And yeah, he had a sense of humor, and he's a nice guy and all this stuff, but at the same time, there was a lot of that. I remember that most about him more than anything, to be honest. And Mike he had been calling my parents a lot because, they knew each other forever. They're like, my mom went to high school with his wife, and so they just automatically became like family. And my brother just talked about how he felt like Mike was a second dad to him. And for me, when I had my series of traumatic events when I was 7 and 8, one of them was that I almost drowned in the ocean, and Mike was the one we were on vacation with, their family, and he saved me. And also my dad, because my dad was trying to be there, but he couldn't swim either, so we got caught in an undertow. And yeah, so Mike saved us, and so that's kind of, that hits periodically too. Shit. Another thing. So okay, so those, and so I've talked on here, I think, quite a bit about, just like my dad going heavy with the religious stuff, and that being a big matter of disagreement between us. So, oh yeah, Mike, when he was calling my parents all the time, he was frequently talking about everything that was going wrong. So that was something that I had noticed back then as well. And okay, so going along with that, the people that are inclined to cling to the negative things, so now my dad's in the hospital, right? Well, I started seeing like his full birth date on like addresses and things that I was coming across, and it's like, I had this moment where I thought it was very concerning, and probably part of why things have been as intensely difficult as they have been between me and him is I started to feel like this would probably be that year for him too. And I see my grandparents' numbers all over the place too, the ones that are still around, and I thought that with them as well. I don't think that's necessarily always the case. However, that was how it hit me, and I feel like all that stuff comes up when it does, as it does, for a reason as well. Troops are going after. Okay, so they're widening the road that our drive is off of, that my grandma and my aunt and uncle are immediately off of, and they're putting posts up now, so they're actually, there's people where the dogs can see them, so this probably won't be a regular thing. That and, yeah, again, the family issue. But that said, I started feeling the sense that there was a good chance for all three of them that this could be that year for them as well. And, I try not to let myself think about it too much, but obviously that weighs heavy. So it's just, and I haven't mentioned that one to anybody either, because that's just like, what do you do with that? And, especially now that he is currently in the hospital, and my brother, when he came in last night, said that they were wanting to keep him for 3 full 24-hour periods to work on like his walking, since he was kind of staggering and not able to walk straight and all this stuff. But like when Dave went into the hospital, he was in there several days, and most of them he couldn't communicate or talk to anybody. It was mainly, just his eyes. He could look at them, he could tear up. That was about the extent of it. And then Mike's situation's kind of shitty. He was diabetic, and they had to remove his big toe and I think a couple others. But his wife got home from work one day, and my uncle's standing out staring up in this direction. He's got a puppy over there, so little corgi pup. But yeah, that's why chaos ensues. So anyway, no, not right now. He went to go down in their basement for something and lost his balance, fell down the stairs, had several cracked ribs, and all sorts of chaos on that end. His wife was at work and didn't find him until she got home, and he didn't have a cell phone or anything, so he was just laying there at the bottom of the stairs like that for several hours. At the hospital, hey, thank you, that's enough, thank you. I think he had a heart attack while he was at the hospital, and then his went downhill in a hurry. One day he's smiling and taking pictures while he's there, and then the next he's like in a coma or whatever. But I think it was medically induced because he was in a lot of pain, and they were trying to for the ball at least get it all chill, not the others. um, but they were trying to keep him calm. So then it ended up just going from there, and then he ended up he was on an event and all sorts of stuff, and then ended up they waited till his sister was able to get in town to see him one last time, and then they unplugged everything, and that was it, and so it went quick. So this is the way everything's been going this year. So it's kind of an ordeal, obviously. I don't know. There's just... Anyway, I was processing the frustrations with, the conversation with my aunt and everything with my dad, and realizing that there's just kind of... there's a lot more to this, and I think that's largely part of it, and therefore I'm working through Taz. No, that's enough. Or I'm working through. Stop. Come here. All right, thank you. Oh, thank you. Yes, I love you too. Anyway, so I'm processing through it before anything happens, and hopefully, I don't know, hopefully it's not now, but at the same time, it's like, is this what we're building up to? Yeah. So yeah. Taz, no. But that, I think that's why everything's just so, yeah. And so after I did my little odds and ends, walking the dogs and vacuuming over at my grandma's house, then I got this email that popped up, and it's a Kyle Gray thing, his angel message of the day for 6/10/24, and it's the card Metatron, and it says, "Heaven to Earth, your current situation is in alignment with your mission on Earth." It says when Metatron comes to you, it's because you are part of a powerful shift that is unfolding on Earth during your lifetime, so proceed, keep going, and don't give up. There's a sacred bridge of light between heaven and earth that bridges you. Your life hasn't happened by chance or accident. You have been chosen. The divine has recruited you to fulfill a mission that will bring you healing and change to planet Earth. You might feel like you're on a roller coaster and be unsure if you should continue or not, but there's karmic alignment occurring, and therefore what you are facing and pushing through now is absolutely in alignment with your mission. Energetically, there is a cleanup process unfolding, so it might feel a bit messy or overwhelming, but trust that you are on the right path and your angel team is supporting you on your mission. If you are ready to take the next step on your spiritual path, let your angels know loud and clear, and they will begin to lead the way like a spiritual GPS from within. You have a calling. Respond. The earth needs you. It's like... everything. It's just... it's like... something happens, or I feel some feelings, and then I process them. I maybe do a video. I maybe regret what I talked about and question if it was what I was supposed to be doing. And it's like, that was kind of the way it went today. And then I got this email. It's like, keep going, you're right where you're supposed to be. It's like, fuck. And I get those kind of messages a lot, not just from his little angel message thing. I get like Sonia Choquette and Colette Baron Reed you know, I follow a bunch of pages like that, and then I'll just always happen upon the right thing, and it's like, here we go again. You know, and it's kind of funny and kind of kind of unnerving. You know, like I feel a lot like okay, I'm gonna do this again. Literally right there. Yeah, but as like feeling the feelings and processing it on here, and you know, I think I've said before that I felt like talking my way through this healing process is a huge part of my life's purpose, because I'm not afraid to share the shitty stuff that hurts immensely. I'm not afraid to cry on camera or whatever, even though it's sometimes disappointing that I do it so much. Alas, here we are. So yeah, you know, and it's like every time I start questioning what I'm doing and if it's actually going to matter, then something like that pops up, and it's like, yep, keep going. Here we are. You know, we have no other choice. We got to keep going. And yeah. I don't really. I think maybe I'm trying to decide if I have anything further that comes to mind for that, or if I just want to end this one. This is just heavy stuff. And I mean, it makes sense that if you know your mission is healing, which I've always known that's good. Like, I've always been really frustrated at feeling like what I was supposed to be doing, I was unable to connect with and actually do, like on the healing end. And, you know, when I started making the connections and the stuff, like what would happen with, or the stuff that happened with Dave and Mike came up, hi. Then yeah. You know, it's like, yeah, there's this moment, it's like, I know healing is somehow on my path, but I don't, it's very frustrating that I don't know what that looks like. And one of the things that came up with them was the idea that you can't interfere with somebody else's life lessons. And, you know, I don't know what they wanted to learn in this lifetime. I don't know, you know, what that's supposed to do to connect with anybody else in their family or whatever. There's like, but it was made very clear that part of my life lesson is figuring out when you can, or when is appropriate to help and when not, you know. And because I can't make people learn things. I can't just this you know. I just, oh, excuse me, I don't know, it's just part of my learning journey. And knowing that I'm supposed to be doing something and feeling like I'm not doing it, it's like, it's very frustrating. But then, like with everything on the YouTube stuff, it's like I feel like this is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing for now. I don't know if it's going to be forever. However, I do think these videos will stay up regardless of what I choose to do going forward. Because, like, the first time when I deleted them, it was because it was so emotionally overwhelming and exhausting for me And then I was afraid to leave them up when it was just this little handful of videos. And that was that. So since I was afraid of them doing anything without me, I deleted them. And then when I came back, I was disappointed that I had, and I realized that I need to put them up there, or needed to re-put them out there, because that is a part of my process. And I did it early in round 2 of this, well, since March. Did it early on enough so they're kind of probably sufficiently buried again, but now it's not got the fun dates like November 11th, because that very first video was on November 11th, although that one I didn't repost, so yeah, I deleted that one like completely off my computer because I was just like, oh, this sucked. Yeah. However, I think the other videos show sufficiently that I was still a hot mess back then too. Story of my life. Anyway, I guess I'll call it here because I don't know what else to talk about, and and it's dinner time for these crazy kids, so they're being good, but I can tell they're just waiting. But they're being good, so that's always good. Yeah. And there's still stuff to do today. Figure out what's going on with this car. Hope it's not the transmission, but I feel like it's the transmission. The guy said it sounds like the transmission. It's kind of funny because I had that thought when I was driving the other day from my brother's house to the cemetery to walk the dogs. And like the first thing that happened was the car wasn't matching my foot on the accelerator. It's like, that's not ideal. And then as soon as I took my foot off the accelerator, it started speeding up. It's like, that's really not ideal. I'd rather have my foot on the accelerator and not go anywhere than not have my foot on the accelerator, and now it's gonna launch me into next week. So yeah, that was not good. But there's just a few things that I don't know cars, but I had the sense that might be the issue. And then somebody else mentioned it, and it's like, yeah, we're trying to be optimistic, but and all the things that feel up in the air at the moment with family members' health and stuff that's falling apart conveniently at just the inconvenient time. Yeah. Stupid ball. I'll give you a shot of this because she's so freaking cute, and here's her ball. Yeah, ball. Yep, just that easy. Anyway, I think I'm going to end it there, and as always, I appreciate you, and until the next time, see you later.